We are live.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Town of East Hampton Architectural Review Board meeting of September 10th, 2020. I'd like to open the meeting with the approval of the minutes from our last meeting, August 27, 2020. Peter, can I get a second on that?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Chip?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to open the meeting with the application, starting with Historic District and Landmarks, Sean McPherson, modification tax map number 300-32-6-3, 139 DeForest Road in Montauk. And Michael, if Britton Bistrian is on the line?
I believe
please.
So. I will unmute the caller right now.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairman Petrowski and members of the board. Britton Bistrian representing 139 DeForest Road and Sean McPherson.
Hi, Britton. Good afternoon.
Hi. So from our last discussion, I met with my client and I also spoke with Bob Hefner and reviewed the alteration to the existing accessory structures, being the garage and the pool house, to change all the windows, which is a total of 11, from the existing Anderson 1/1s to all wood, true divided light Marvin 6/1 double hung.
Could we, excuse me, Britton, could we get a background as to Chip, explain what the application is before we get into those details?
To seek approval on 2 as-built structures and eventually get a C of O. The site is in the Montauk Association Historic District, which is 7 houses, and the site of the 8th building, which was the clubhouse. Clubhouse burned in 1933. The small house was built in 1962. Recently, a garage, pool house, and pool were built without ARB approval. At our last meeting, we tabled the application and asked the applicant to address the windows in both buildings, which do not conform to any historic guidelines. Britton has just given us their response. Upon further review, the board has determined that both buildings in total do not conform with the historic district guidelines, and it goes much beyond the windows at this point. The garage, as built, is 8 feet taller than what was approved. The garage roof is very shallow and not historically correct. The pool house was built on the front lawn of the clubhouse, and per the guidelines, there was nothing to be built on that front lawn except for a swimming pool. This is considered the most historic of probably all the historic districts in East Hampton. And what has happened here is that the site has been impaired with thoughtless additions of things that shouldn't be there. In the end, we're looking at numerous infractions at the holiest of historic sites and how they threaten these changes and threaten the character and integrity of this nationally known historic district. So that's my statement.
Thank you. So just to comment on what Chip just said with regards to the pool house, on the original survey and application for approval with the ARB board, the pool house was situated on the property to the east side of the pool, tucked in alongside the pool, not behind the pool and in front of the house. So what we can do is ask Britton to comment on this, and what we can do then is have the board vote on their proposal for the windows.
I'd actually request, this is not I didn't have any knowledge of this being a topic for discussion. I thought I was coming back from the issues that were raised at the last ARB meeting, relating, there was something about the garage roof and also the windows, but my takeaway from that was the windows. So I've only addressed the windows. So I would request that the board give me some more guidance, and I can then table this for a future meeting. I'm taken back by the sighting of the pool house. That's something that is new. I didn't have any knowledge of that prior to the last 2 minutes.
Well, I have to be honest with you, Britton, when we were reviewing this 2 weeks ago at the meeting, I didn't either. And there was things about the pool house that were not sitting right with me with the location of it. It didn't make sense to me. I was not comfortable at all with the height and the shallow pitch of the roof line on the garage and the way it presents itself. So I went back to the plans and compared what was built with what we approved back in 2016 and discovered a lot of things that were much bigger in scope to the problems with these two accessory buildings that were built without ARB approval. And had they come before us, we wouldn't be here today discussing this. So the issues are the location of the pool house as it presents itself on the property does not follow the historic guidelines, nor does it follow what we approved. The house itself, or the pool house itself, there was supposed to be a pergola that comes off of the roof line, and on the original plans, there is no drawings that suggest those Adirondack type of beams. So I don't even know if they would have been part of that. So I have a concern about that. And I think with the pergola, those beams probably weren't going to be part of the plan. The 8 additional feet on the garage building is a problem. When you approve a 16-foot garage and you get a 24-foot garage, that changes the entire style and scope of the building, and add 8 windows, changing them out to white is not going to fix this. And this is a problem. So I think we should just table it and let you go back to the owner, who was remiss in coming before us with this new set of plans that he developed in 2017. And, you know, give us another opportunity for them to correct this problem. Because the windows, as far as we can go ahead and take a vote on it for the board if you'd like. But as far as I'm concerned, that's nothing compared to the other issues that we're facing here. Because if we were to go ahead and approve this, they would stay there. And that is against the guidelines of the Association Historic District. And we can't do that. It's almost like, you know, we can't approve an 8-foot gate on a front street when the guidelines say 6 feet. So I'm more than happy to table this.
Britton, I just wanted to say, have you read the Montauk Association Historic District Guidelines? Because based on your comments, I'm concerned that you're not familiar with it.
Yes, I'm familiar with the Montauk Historic District. I actually included an excerpt from that in my transmittal to the board. Did you have a chance to review that?
I reviewed everything you submitted, but the guidelines, if you're asking for guidance from us, the guidance is all in these district guidelines in terms of what's permitted, what's not permitted, and what you need to do with your client to fix this.
No, I'm sorry. That may have been misunderstood. What I was trying to say was that my takeaway from the last review was that I was to take a harder look at the windows and their relationship to the historic guidelines. I'm now being informed that there's other issues in the windows that I did not hear at the last hearing, nor hear from a board member or anybody between the last hearing and today. And so I'm respectfully requesting that we table this so that I can understand those issues and address those, because I've only addressed the issue that I heard at the last meeting. I'm not prepared nor made a submittal to address issues I didn't know about.
Okay.
Perfect.
That's fair.
So
All right.
we're going to table it.
Okay, thank you. Paula
Are
Krasner
you
House,
gonna
tax map number 300-62-7-3.5 and 6.1, 830 Springs Fireplace Road in East Hampton. Diane Benson, if you could read into the record what this application is for. And before that, Michael, is there anyone on the line?
I think
Yes,
Helen
yes,
Harrison
there are
said she would
actually-
probably be here.
There are 3 callers on the line. I can see if I can find Helen. Is that who you're looking for?
Yes. Thank you.
I'll unmute that caller right now.
Okay, yes, I'm here.
Oh, good.
Hi, Helen.
Hello, Helen.
Hi, hi. I'm watching the live stream, and there's a bit of a delay between the telephone and the live stream.
Okay. Well, this application has been before us once before, upon which we looked at it very favorably, and it is to install a historic structure moved from Brooks Park property on Neck Path to the Pollock Krasner House historic property. Now, this is it's very, very small, this shed. And these are the details. Basically, they're recreating, Derek, if you could move the pictures to the pictures of the actual original house. I think that's important. And also we have a site plan now that shows us exactly. Yes, we have a site plan now. In this cloud, it shows us exactly where this charming little historic structure is to be placed, which is sort of behind the parking lot, the small parking lot, and between a very large cedar tree that everybody is very familiar with, I think. And it's 50 feet, at least 50 feet from Springs Fireplace Road. And it seems to nestle right into this little spot that you can see here on the survey.
Right. Is that the cloud that's more towards the center versus the one towards the back right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So, I mean, I can't see how this building will do anything but add to the history and the charm and the quirkiness of the whole Pollock Krasner beautiful being. So, does anyone have any questions? Or Helen, would you like to say anything? I mean, I think you have all your approvals.
I'm a little bit I'm sorry?
I think that you have all your approvals and that the building department just requested that the ARB look at this one more time, which we have. I mean,
Right. Yeah, that's what I was a little bit confused about, because I knew that you had seen it before, but when I went to the planning board, they sent me the approval pending ARB approval. So that's why it's back to you again.
Well, does anybody on the board have any questions or?
No, I don't. Does anybody else have any comments they want to make?
Is the shed going to be restored?
Yes.
Yes.
The door, you see the door in the photograph there that's up on the screen at the moment. That has been closed off. That will be restored, and you can see it in the black and white photograph of when it was at Montauk. So we'll essentially take it back to the way it looked when it was the so-called guest cottage on the Brooks Park property in Montauk, assuming that the other buildings on the Neck Path property are going to be demolished.
And there is a building plan that's very, very complete with description of what kind of planking is being used in the reconstruction, and it looks very thoroughly thought out to me.
What is the roof going to be?
What it is now, it's covered. Actually, it's tarped at the moment, but I believe it's just shakes, cedar shakes.
Yeah, a cedar roof. That's it's referred to as a cedar roof.
Okay.
Okay.
just to add or to clarify that this then is, the intention is to move this to the Paula Krasner property as an effort to preserve this particular structure in the event that the remainder of the buildings on the Brooks Parks property are demolished.
That's right.
Can you do me a favor and pull up the site plan again and just zoom in a little bit more to where it's going? Because just for the public's understanding, it was a little hard to see.
Okay, it is that one toward the middle, then that little cloud. It's that little building.
Right. And Helen, is it true that Jackson Pollock and Lee Krasner actually stayed in this little guest house when it was in Montauk?
This is our version of George Washington slept here.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
I
That's
think
where they used to sleep. It was sort of like camping out, but because Jim and Charlotte only had one bedroom, so they used to use this as their guest cottage.
Right. So I think it's fitting that it's there. All right.
Yes.
So Diane, why don't we go ahead and move to make a motion?
Yes,
on
I make a motion that that the ARB happily approves this application to restore this historic structure on the Paula Krasner property.
Great. Esperanza, can I get a second, please?
An emphatic second.
Great. And Chip?
Agree.
And Peter?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Great. Thank you, Helen, and thank you for saving it.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, you're very welcome. I wish we could save all 4 buildings, but we'll do the best we can.
Ken.
All right. Well, let us know if we can help in any way.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Under agricultural overlay, Paul and Tina Penachiccio, tax map number 300-159-1-2.2, 11 Roberts Lane in East Hampton, and that's Diane as well. If you can read that into the record, but let me ask first if there's a caller on the line for this applicant, Michael. It
Yes,
might be Keith, possibly.
Yes, I believe so. I'll unmute that caller right now.
Hi, it's Keith Boyce from Greifenstein Boyce Architects.
Okay.
Great. Hi, Keith.
Hello.
Can
Can you hear me?
hold on one second.
Hey,
Yeah,
how are
hold on one second, Keith. Diane's going to read into the record what the application is for.
All right. This is an application to rebuild a fire-damaged garage, a 2-story garage, with a room above, and to match all the exterior details as they existed and as they pertain to the house. And we have some very complete pictures and dimensions. Derek, I think I sent you some pictures. I numbered them 1, 2, 3, 4. No, these are not. Well, this where you see the blue vinyl. That is the garage that was burned out and that is being replaced.
Are those dormers underneath that blue? Were there? Or what was the original
Yes,
garage?
yes.
It was a 2-story
Yeah.
garage with I believe, an office space on the top.
There were 2 dormers on that face of the building.
Okay, because on the survey, it says it's a 1-story building. So it wasn't so Keith, can you tell us what was there originally, please?
Is that the new survey?
Yes. When we first constructed the house, the garage had a Cape Cod shaped roof, and we filed for a permit and it was approved to do another room above the existing garage. The dormers, though, were part of the existing house plan, and they were always on there. We added a shed dormer on the backside to get headroom for a bathroom. When the fire damaged the entire thing, our plan is to keep the front of the house looking exactly the way it is, except the roof line is going to be approximately 2'4", 2'6" higher, which will allow us to have 8-foot ceilings throughout the entire upper floor for the bedroom office space. And our cornice work, our trim work, I'm sorry.
So what I wanted to ask, so that the board as well as the viewers, is there a rendering of what the new proposed garage is going to look like with the increased height? in the front end as well as
I
the
did,
back?
I did it on the working drawing. The working drawings show exactly dimensions. There they are.
Okay.
On the lower left, on the upper elevation, I crocheted in the roof that's being added on a little bit higher, so it's got a darker shingle.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the back, you can see a dormer that runs across the back, similar to what was there before it burned down. And then the dormers that you see on the front elevation were there right from the very beginning when you first approved this house, circa 2010. And then the end elevation, which was the first sheet you posted up, shows the garage doors and the window treatment that were there. So we've pretty much replicated exactly what's there, but by going up the extra 2'8", now that we had a chance to do it, we got better headroom for our second floor.
Right. So you can see on what's showing on the screen now how the dormer comes out off the back. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, now
And it's very similar to what was there before the fire. It's just that because the ridge line went up a little bit higher, we were able to get a better ceiling out of it.
And I think our concern here is how it affects the ag overlay, which is the concern of this application. So, Derek.
Well, the ag overlay, we've added no extra footprint to the property at all.
No, I understand that, but you have added that. But there are 4 pictures, Derek, that show exactly the circumstances of the ag overlay. That could you find those, please? No, this is the vegetation all around the house is very, very high. Okay. Oh no. Okay. So this is the 4th of the 4 series of 4 pictures. So there's 3 before this. It shows a progression. Okay. It's the progression of when you're standing in the driveway and what you see in front of you. Okay. Go back,
ma'am, I
Eric.
think you're standing in the backyard right now.
No, I know that. I know that. Derek, move 2 more. No, in the other direction. No. Well, that is the garage. No. And that's what they're rebuilding.
And this is an attached.
Attached to the house.
Yeah.
Very definitively attached to the house. And Derek, there are some more pictures. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when you arrive at the property, you arrive through a gate that you can't see in this picture. And then you're facing this hedge, the house, and this wrought iron gate. And then you pass over the lawn. The swimming pool is to your right. And then you go to these double white gates, which opens up onto the ag overlay, which is a gorgeous, huge, waving grasses meadow. It's vast. It goes all the way to Cedar Street from this cul-de-sac, and there is very, very high and classic vegetation all around the house, and I think that adding these 2 feet to this garage, on the other, I don't think it's going to have any impact on the ag overlay.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Diane or Keith?
And can we see a survey that shows where the house is in relation to the ag overlay?
Yes, we have that.
I was going to say,
There you are.
I'll jump in here, Peter. So while what you're looking at to the north, to behind the house says 75-foot wide natural buffer, it's actually as wide as both lot 1 and this lot is, and it goes all the way back. It's 7 acres. It's owned by the town, and it goes back to Cedar Street. So the survey doesn't really show you the expanse of it, but like Diane described, it's very.
Cedar Street is not there. I mean, if you look at the dimension, right, it's 795 feet to
Right.
Cedar Street.
Right.
So,
So it's, and
okay.
it's as, you know, it's as wide as both of those lots. It goes back.
It's really beautiful. I mean, these people on this cul-de-sac, they're very nice. I mean, it's situated beautifully that it opens onto this 7-acre buffer.
Okay, I have no other question.
Okay. Diane, you want to go ahead and make a motion, please?
Yes. I make a motion that we accept this application as presented to rebuild the 2-story frame garage.
Okay, can I get a second on that, Peter?
Second,
All in favor? Listen to me, Denise. Where is Denise when you need her? Chip
Aye.
and Esperanza.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, Keith, thank you very much. Good luck with the new build out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. 55 Wayne-Scott Hollow Road, Wayne-Scott Hollow LLC, tax map number 300-196-1-18. And I wrote on that, is that 59 Wayne-Scott Hollow Road in Wayne-Scott, and that's Esperanza.
Yes, so this is, the application is to move the house from 55 Wayne-Scott Hollow Road to number 59 Wayne-Scott Hollow Road. And we would have to really look at the pictures, but and also the
Well,
plans.
let me see first if there's anybody on the line. Okay.
Yes.
Michael, do you have anybody calling in for this application?
I have 2 numbers and I don't know who they are, so I can just open them up and see. I'll open the first one that called in.
Great, thank you.
Hello, caller. You're live with the ARB. Hello, caller. Hearing nothing, Chair, I'll move on to the next call.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome. Unmuting now.
Yes, hello. My name is John Woodsma. I'm here to represent 59 Wayne-Scott Hollow Road.
Great, thank you. What was your name? John, can you say your name and spell your last name for the record?
Sure. The full name is John Woodsma. The last name spelling is W-O-U-D. S as in Sam, M as in Mary, A as in Adam.
Great, thanks, John. Okay, Esperanza, please.
Okay, so this is an existing single-family residence. On the application, it indicates it's 47 feet wide by 25 feet deep, 2 stories, 2,068 square feet. So my understanding is that the entire structure is going to be moved, as I said, from number 55 to number 59. And they've included photographs of that structure. And from what I can see from the elevations, there's nothing being changed. Although I had one question about the front door, because I can't see it from the photograph, and I actually didn't get up close, or I couldn't see from, I didn't see it, is on the elevations there are side lights by the front door. That's it. I mean, and other than that, there's no other change. I didn't see any other changes. So perhaps John can take us through and give me a better understanding, or us a better understanding. And also on the property at 55, there's a 3-car garage. And I just wondered if that existing structure is also the one that's going to be moved over to 59.
Okay, before we go on there, Derek, is it possible for you to give us a shot of a survey? What surveys do you have, Esperanza? Do you have a survey for number 55 and for 59?
No, I have a survey for 59 with the proposed building.
Okay, let's look for that. Great. Okay, let's take a look. All right, John, why don't you tell us what's going on here, please?
All right, we're planning on moving the house in its entirety, minus the porches. We will have to rebuild those. We can't lift and move them. The front door, the current existing front door, is not salvageable, unfortunately. So we are going to have to replace it. The main panel is going to be in like kind, but we're trying to get a little bit more light into the main entranceway, and that's why we thought of doing the 2 side lights. All the elements of the house are going to remain exactly the same. We have actually saved some of the shingles from when we had to take the porches off. So where we have to infill after the move, we should be able to infill with older shingles, and you shouldn't be able to tell a difference in the outside of the house. It should really look like it's been there for 100 years.
And I'm just curious about 55 to 59. Is there a story that you can share with us why it's going from one lot to the other?
Oh, certainly. This field was actually subdivided, and this is the original farmhouse and an ag building that's now in the middle of an agricultural field. And part of the subdivision requirements is for us to relocate it to a half-acre lot, which was created just for this house.
Okay, so where it's located now is going to be ag property, correct? If I understand that?
Yes, it is. Yes. So the existing barn structure that's out there is going to either remain as an agricultural building for the production of farm material, or it will be demolished because it simply is not in a good enough condition to be moved.
Okay, and so I'm looking at the survey on my little laptop. So it says proposed one-story garage. So you're going to build a new garage on number 59?
Yes, and we're going to do it in like and kind. The only thing that we won't be able to do is to use older shingles. We're going to have to wait for the barn shingles to weather.
Okay, so it is going to be a new structure.
That would be in a future application.
Excuse me?
We're not asking for the garage right now. Right now, we're just trying to move the house so we can complete the requirements of the subdivision, and we'll be coming back to you with another proposal for interior renovations of the existing farmhouse and for the garage.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions on this survey before I ask to move to another photograph?
Just one question. So this proposal is not for the garage because there's no drawing or anything.
Yeah, that's what he just said.
For the garage.
Right.
No, he just said that, Peter, that he's going to come back to us in the future for that. And the one that's existing is going to stay on the agricultural property. Either they'll demolish it or they'll try to, refurbish it to be able to use for ag purposes.
Okay.
Okay. So can we go back to the front picture of the front-facing house to Esperanza's questions about the side lights so we could just see the door in question? And while you're doing that, John, what year is this house built?
We believe it's circa 1880.
Nice. Okay. All right. So if you could see through the tree, you're going to replace the door in like and kind, but you'd like to do side light panels on the sides, correct?
Yes, because otherwise that front hallway is just very dark. So we're just trying to find a way to bring some natural light into the space.
Are you able to keep the old glass windows?
Yes, we are.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
Yeah,
That's great.
That's what I love, is that everything is really going to be preserved, and even you're not moving, obviously, the porches, but they're going to be reproduced.
Replicated.
Rebuilt.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Esperanza or for John?
No.
No. Great.
Okay. All right, Esperanza, why don't you go ahead and make a motion, please?
So I make a motion to approve this application as submitted.
Look at that.
Mama.
Can I get a second? Chip?
Second.
All in favor, Diane?
Yes.
And Peter?
Aye.
Aye. And I for Betsy. Thank you so much, John. Good luck with everything.
Thank you for your approval, and we'll be back to you soon with the garage structure.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay. Good job. Change to commercial, 51 South Edgemere LLC, tax map number 300-52-1-1.2, 51 South Edgemere Street in Montauk. And Michael, do we have a caller on the line?
We have two callers. What is the name of the person you're looking for?
Well, it could be Deborah, and I think she has some design, a design firm with her.
All right, I'll unmute this caller and we'll see. One moment.
Hi, yes, this is Deborah Choron calling in on 51 South Edgemere Street.
Hi, Deborah. It's Betsy and ARB. So I want to just open up with the fact that, let me see how I can do this. So it's going to be in a way that will make chronological sense. This is an application for a change to commercial for a current restaurant / hotel on Edgemere Road, that the back of the restaurant and the back of some of the rooms face Fort Pond. From what I understand that Derek just told me that I didn't know because I wasn't on the board in the fall of 2019, that this came before the board. Was that, Deborah, prior to going to planning? Can you give me a little history on that?
Sure. It was simultaneous with the planning board site plan approval process. So we filed the joint application, I believe, way back in May of 2019. And at one process, before we were deemed complete, the planning board members asked for comment from the architectural review board. So I did come before the board in the good old days when we could do it in person, and I came to a meeting and we sat with the plans, and ultimately the board did not have any comment at that time. And then we did just receive our site plan approval from the planning board. So now we are back, and of course that is subject to this board's approval.
Okay, so before I go through with the rest of what I would like to cover and then hand it over to you with your design team to explain the changes, has anything that was presented to ARB from an ARB perspective, has anything changed from those original plans that you're aware of, that you're presenting today?
Yes, I believe the original submission had an exterior color that was different than what the renderings show today. So those were amended with our November 8th, 2018 submission. I don't remember if when the meeting was before the ARB, whether or not that color was the original color, or whether...
So basically what the ARB commented on back in the fall of 2019, not too much has changed from that, correct? That's what I'm trying to get at.
I'm sorry, the phone line cut out for a moment there.
Okay. What I was saying is I just wanted to verify that pretty much nothing has changed dramatically from what ARB commented on back in 2019 to what we're going to look at today, correct?
Right, I don't believe so.
Okay, so Derek, the pictures that we spoke about earlier that you were able to pull up, can we go through theirs? Because I would like the board to see what's existing now. Although it looks a little bit better because it was cleaned up for the summer. So this is the restaurant used to be East by Northeast, which was there for a very long time. And it has, if I'm not mistaken, 16 rooms, Deborah?
I think it has approval for 16. I think that it is actually less, but I'd have to pull up the site plan very quickly.
Okay, so let's just go through the photos so the board can get an idea of what's existing now, because I think these are telling, even though it's a bad time of year and, you know, nothing's been kept up because it's obviously closed for the season. You can just go through them there.
Sure.
That faces Fort Pond. That's the back side. That's Fort Pond at a sunset. That's the front facing Edgemere. To the left is the entrance into the building. This is the parking lot facing north, looking into the entrance. And you can see on the left side in the back, that's also faces Fort Pond. There's large pane glass windows that look out onto the pond from the restaurant. Is that it, Derek? Okay, great. All right, Deb, who do you have with you today?
I believe that Stephen Nielsen and Marta Sanders are together on the line. They are from Architecture Outfit, and they did these plans for us.
Okay, I'm sorry, Stephen and who else?
Marta Sanders.
Marta? Okay,
Hi,
Michael,
this is
is there
Stephen
anyone, Michael, is there anyone on for us?
I just unmuted the line. Stephen, is that you?
That's me.
Yes?
Yep. Can you hear me okay?
Is that Stephen?
Yes, Stephen's here.
Okay, can you spell your last name for the record, please?
It's Nielsen, Nielson.
Okay, and is there someone with you?
I believe Marta Sanders is also on the line. Sanders, Sanders. Marta, you on?
There is another
Good.
caller on the phone line. Is this caller, Stephen, with you on your phone, or no? There's another caller in the queue.
No,
I'm going to open that up then, Chair, and see if that's who we're looking for.
Please.
Hello, this is Marta Sanders, Principal Architecture Outfit. I work with Stephen.
Great. Hi, Marta. Welcome. So I'm going to hand this over to one or all three of you, and if you can walk through what you're presenting here today, that would be great. And Derek will accommodate, the change of the photos as we go along. So why don't we go through what these primary exterior alterations are that we have in front of us now, if you'll just read through them for the board as well as for the viewers.
Sure. So this will continue to be a restaurant and a hotel. The first point we bring up here is we're going to remove the lions and the signage that are currently at the front of the property. And as you saw in the previous pictures, we're going to remove that decorative standing seam roof and the kind of fake dormers that are in there around the restaurant portion. And there's also a few infilled solid panels on the lower portion in front of the patio that are that have some sort of fake windows in them as well. Those are coming out. In place of that, we're proposing that the fascia line continues around just atop the post and beam patio that's there. So the post and beam will stay, and then on top of that, we'll put a new flat roof which has the metal fascia and is planted with some indigenous grasses. The height of this proposed change is the same height as the existing standing seam metal roof. So the peak of the metal roof that goes back, that's the height of where we have a proposed wooden screen, which will shield the mechanical equipment that's on the roof. This screen will go all the way around the roof, so you won't see the mechanical equipment from the pond anymore either. So we're also doing two altered openings. One on the outdoor patio side. We're proposing a new opening which will allow better access in and out of the restaurant onto the patio there. That's what you see on the sort of first splash page or in the lower left corner of this image. And then on the other side, on the pond side, out on the lawn, there's an existing stair and doorway that are actually on the outside of the building. You step out through the door and then down into the lawn. Our proposal is actually to bring that back into the footprint of the building and recess the new door so that you'll have steps on the inside of the building that step out onto the lawn. So we're actually reducing the amount of impact on the lawn there.
Right. It might be the next one. Are you talking about the staircase right there off the side door on the screen?
The screen I'm seeing is pretty delayed on my feed here, but the staircase and the parking lot is more or less the same. It's the staircase on the side door, yes, to the back of Fort Pond.
Right. Did the screen see what we're looking at, which is facing the restaurant, and there's a white wooden staircase coming off a single door? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, exactly. That white wooden staircase, that's coming off. And in its place,
Right.
we're basically cutting that opening open around where the current door is and putting the new doors. Those are actually recessed back into the space,
Right.
a landing about
And it looks like
maybe
you're
8 feet,
changing
actually.
out, right, and it looks like you're changing out the windows for the restaurant to be wider pane glass instead of having the divided glass lights.
Exactly. It just so happens that the way the windows are installed, the divided lights, they sit at a really awkward position when you're looking out the window. It's almost like blocks out the sunset from right at eye height where those mullions are. So our proposal is just wide open windows there. We're not necessarily increasing the amount of glazing. We're just reconfiguring the window pane size. And so that stands for the whole building. We're replacing the existing windows with something similar to the Marvin Signatures windows, which have a metal outside, dark bronze outside, and stained wood interior.
Okay, so I have a couple
that
of
same
questions.
metal is what we're looking at doing. Okay.
All right, I have a couple questions. The height of the windows, or the height of the windows on the proposed looks to be longer in height than what's there.
Like the sill looks lower?
Yes.
I think that's just the way our particular viewer is standing. They will not be lower.
Okay.
We're keeping them at
All
the
right,
same height.
Right, and then talk to me about the second story above the restaurant where there's now windows where there isn't, and you can see some of the equipment coming off of it. What's happening there?
So there actually are windows behind that equipment. It's just at this view you can't see them. There's a door and window that access that roof area. You'll see up on that image there are 2 units of equipment up there. We're replacing all of the mechanical equipment with modernized equipment, which should be more efficient and quieter. One of those units will remain, but it is kind of tucked in behind that wall that's there, and we would actually we could screen that easily with a mechanical screen.
And what is that? Is that a room up? A room for rent up there? Okay.
It is, yes. It's part of the apartment rental.
Okay. And then
you probably
is there
see in
any
the site in the other? Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, and then I want to talk about, since we're on windows, on the units that face Fort Pond. It's hard for me to tell exactly what's going on. I could see that on the first floor on the corner, you're replacing a sort of a solid door with very thin lights for 2 open doors. And if you could walk us through these back-facing pond exterior changes, I'd appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
As it pertains to the windows and the doors changing or not.
Okay. Do you have access to the zoning board submission with the architectural drawings A201 and A202?
Yes, I believe we do.
There's drawings there. It might be more easier to understand the changes one-to-one than in the renderings.
Okay.
All those are getting pulled up. I can describe what's happening. We're reconfiguring the layout of the hotel rooms, and those,
excuse
those
me
units are
one
getting
minute.
reglazed.
Wait, 1 second. Stephen, can you tell Derek what number you want?
A201 and A202. They should be like the 11th and 12th page of the 1106 submission. Right before the renderings at the end.
These are existing.
No, I believe this is
one
proposed.
Page is existing.
This is existing.
One page is existing and one page is proposed.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah, the bottom drawing is the new.
202 is proposed.
So let's look at the proposed.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So that's the proposed there. So the middle drawing is the rear elevation.
Okay.
So we are in fact on the previous sheet you would have seen the upper floors do have pairs of sliding glass windows, of all glass windows. What we're proposing is that instead of being in sets, they're just basically moving closer together. So we're not actually increasing the number of units of glass on the second floor. On the lower floor, we are proposing to replace the wood doors, which have horizontal lights in them, and then they're flanked by a 2 or 3 bay casement window set. And we're proposing to replace those with a pair of, a single pair of sliding doors. This is really just to allow the guests to, get a better view of the pond. Now, the other thing we're doing back here is the current dividers between the outdoor balconies are at an angle.
Can you bring that down? Because excuse me, it's too high up on the screen. We can't really see what it is.
Yeah, back up, Derek. Thank you.
To where we were.
There.
Yeah.
And can you enlarge that so we can see that center panel?
Yeah, number 2. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, Stephen, what you're saying is that on the upper level, where you currently have 2 sets of 2 doors, and there's a separation in the middle, that you're combining them so that the separation is more to the side. So what you're saying is that there will not be any extra light emitting from those 4 units up on top, correct? From what the openings are now to what they're going to be.
That's correct. And
okay, and then down on the bottom, what you're doing is you are opening up that corner to have two doors facing the pond, and then on the other 3, you're going from a door that's solid to 3 window panels to 2 sliding glass doors or 2 doors. So you'll have more light coming out on the bottom, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And, we are sensitive to that. And one of the things we've done, if you'll notice on the renderings, the proposed screening we're using between each room is taller. It's based on the full height of each room, whereas previously they taper from about 4 feet up to 6 feet, and then there's a portion that's full height. So we've actually increased the fins, which should provide some shading from any angle off of the facade.
Well, I'll tell you where I'm going with this. What my concern is if you're across the pond or on the pond at night, how much more light is being shown outside from these additional, doors? Obviously not from up above, but from the first floor, there'll be more than there has been. And would you be able to tell approximately what the percentage is more?
Sure, I could definitely calculate the amount of glazing we're showing there. I guess the other thing to consider would be the nature of the lighting in the rooms. This is our hotel room, so our plan is just for bedside reading lamps and table lamps. So we're not necessarily looking at significant lighting in those rooms because they're just hotel rooms. They're not like the restaurant, for example, which has more lighting.
And I understand that, and that's part of my concern too, because at night not only do you have that large span of windows, which now are going to be wider panes of glass without any divided lights there, you're also opening up some more opportunity for light to go onto the pond from those bottom rooms. So I'm a little concerned about that. This is not our first rodeo with something like this. We've gone through this before, and one of the solutions was to put a film on the door that would, from the inside, you could still see out, but from the outside, you don't have as much light and glare coming out.
Okay.
So it's something to consider and something for the board to weigh in on. Peter, do you have anything you want to say with regards to this specifically with the windows and the doors?
Well, I'm concerned about, will there be lighting on these balconies?
Well, you can see that there are fixtures. We haven't gotten to there yet. There are those canisters, and it looks like they face downward. Is that correct, Stephen?
Yes, that's correct. There is some lighting which is submitted.
They don't go up, correct? There's no light coming up from the top of the canister. They're all downward facing.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, I guess we'd like to see at some point, right, the fixture itself on it. I mean, I'm not sure that the amount of light, right, from the lower levels will be significant, right, a significant increase from what they have now. There seems to be at the other end some additional windows over the restaurant for the new unit.
Well, it's not, he was saying, we talked about that before, it's not a new unit, it's just that right now, the way that their equipment is, it's in front of that. And there's like sort of a screening, if you can go, so they're basically exposed.
The equipment's beyond that, right? If you look at these windows, right, they don't exist on the current.
I think they were
saying, Stephen said that they do exist.
Yeah.
And that,
yes, you just can't see that in that picture.
If you pull up 201 again and
you pull up the existing of this view,
or even the existing elevation, that might help.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
See? Yeah, there it is. It's just that there, like the angle we were looking at it before, we could see equipment units, and there was a wall that came out to sort of cover them from the hotel units.
Right.
So those go away. Those go behind the screening on the front part of the building. On the roof.
So, and just to be clear then, so those doors on the first floor are being replaced, and the windows are being replaced with double sliders like the ones above?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
the other thing on the second floor.
I'm sorry.
Well, just on that second floor unit, we were considering screening in front, like doing a fencing in front of that area to conceal one of those. When we do have one proposed mechanical unit that will stay there. Which would actually further decrease the amount of light coming out of that unit.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Can you say that again? Where are we talking?
Oh, on that second floor, little kind of the unit on top of the garage, on top of the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
We could easily do a screened railing there, like a wood slatted screen there to bring down the light effects of that unit.
Right, similar to what you have for the other units where you have railings. Mm-hmm. Is that what you're proposing?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that would help.
Definitely looking at something like that. Okay.
Right, because I think from the pond, the thing is that the second story I think is more important than the first, because the first is a little tucked underneath, the overhang. So it's not as horrific as it could be. But speak to me about outdoor showers on those balconies that I saw in the plans or mentioned in the plans.
Yes. Yep. So on the other side, on the parking lot side, you can see them if we go back to the rendering in the other document or your plans here. Actually, while you have this document up, and maybe just go to the plans on A106 has them from the first floor or from the second floor, and
there they are.
A103 has them. And these
Yeah,
are
but I don't want to
similar
look at an
screened.
interior shot. Excuse me, I don't want to look at an interior shot. I'd like to look at the outside one.
So they look like they're
Outdoor
screened.
shower.
They're screened, right?
Yeah,
Is this
they're screened.
A06?
103 and 106 have the outdoor showers on them.
I would like to see the elevation from the outside, please, Derek.
The rendering?
Can you blow that up right there?
202 would have the rendering, would have the elevation.
Is it at the top?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I see it.
All right, so explain this to us, please.
So these will look not unlike the screening you see at the front of the restaurant patio. They're vertical wooden scrim or wooden screening. However, on the inside of these, you have a solid infill panel, so you're not seeing through the shower for obvious reasons.
Too bad.
And what happens up on the second story? Are there showers there as well?
There are, yes. On the second story, there's a little bit of a roof overhang on above the showers are proposed there, and they basically nestle under that overhang. You can kind of tell. You get a good picture of it in the rendering on the other document.
All right, yeah, let's take a look
page
at
3 of
that.
that other document.
All right, so the only place that there's outdoor showers are facing the parking lot, facing Edgemere, not facing the pond. And then I have one question for you. Do these units go through to the front, or are they separate from the front units?
They go through.
They go through.
So how many units in total will you have there?
We have in the
if you go to the plan,
main portion of the hotel, you have 9, I believe, and then 1, 2, 3, 9, and then you have the unit above the restaurant is the 10th.
Is the 10th. And the staircase that we're seeing over to the left, does that go to the unit above the restaurant?
It actually doesn't. It goes to the that goes to the units on the
second
Edgemere
floor
side. The staircase
That's back, yeah.
The staircase to the unit above the restaurant is actually inside the building. Interestingly, it's like a.
All right. Derek, let's just go through these color renderings of what is actually being proposed versus, what was there, so we could get an overview again before we move forward. Just the 4 of them. It would be on the last page of the plan.
Or if you have the other document that got the before and after pictures too, that might be helpful to exactly what happened.
There we go.
That smaller 7-page document.
That up. Yeah. So does anybody have any questions for Stephen or Marta about these changes before we get into materials, just from an aesthetic standpoint?
No.
It's clean design. No.
Looks much better,
yeah. All right. What I wanted to do was ask you mentioned about the metal fascia up on top that goes around the roof garden as well as the back. What type of metal is that? What are your materials going to be?
It's intended to match the dark bronze finish of the windows. It will be a painted metal. It's not a raw metal. It'll be painted. Likely aluminum, just for production ease. But it's an aluminum panel with a heavier gauge aluminum top.
Okay. And from what I understand, some of the siding is not being replaced, the horizontal boarding, and it's going to be restained. Is that correct?
For the most part, all of the siding is just being restained. We'll only replace portions where we have, where we've cut into the building or we need to patch. But it's not an uncommon wood, so it should be a pretty easy thing to get a perfect match.
Okay, so unless I'm mistaken, it seems to me that I don't really have any tear sheets on the new light fixtures, and I don't have any stain colors or reference numbers for them, and any other material colorations. Is it possible that you can submit those to us?
Sure. If you flip to the last page of this document, it's up now. I did try to paste some of that stuff in. I think we do have a stain color there. It's going to be the one that we tested on site, and a piece of the existing material. And what looked best was this black semi-solid stain from Cabot. But given that it's black, it lets so much of the wood color through. It comes out as kind of a espresso. Looks like the renderings. And then the last page also has some of the lights.
Stephen, I'm sorry. The dark bronze, that's the stain you're using for the wood trim, for the wood siding?
It's the windows.
No, that's the window finish.
Okay, and so you're using... so what color is the siding going to be?
On the top left of the last page, you can see a little chip there of the black semi-solid stain from Cabot. The semi-transparent stain. So it ends up being a very deep brown.
Okay.
Not
and
black.
This was given to me yesterday from Deborah, and I believe she included 4 copies, and I didn't have a chance to get them to the board members. Mm-hmm. And is there any light fixture tear sheets in this?
Yeah, they're in that last
over
page.
to the right on the same page.
But I don't
tear
see
sheet of the solar panel.
Right, but I don't see the canisters that are on the hotel.
Right, with a tiny little picture. Not a very good cut sheet.
Mm-hmm.
There's a tiny little downlight canister on the bottom right, which is a sconce. It's the same fixture for a canister. I can get you a better picture of that. That's a pretty terrible example of that.
I just wanted to make sure that we had everything, so if we move to approve this, that Derek has all the information to put all of this in the resolution. And based on what we got yesterday and what you're going through today, I think we have everything we need. Peter, am I missing anything? Do we need window specs or anything like that?
Well, there also, Betsy, I just have a question about
where is this proposed decorative sconce?
That's what I wanted to ask.
What do you mean proposed decorative sconce?
If you look at the proposed sconces on the left and then proposed decorative sconce, where is that?
Are they in the interior?
It is, let's see, we have I've got to pull up do you have access to the lighting in our submission to the zoning?
I might.
Submission? It was from the previous submission, from the May 3rd submission.
The solar panels that you were originally planning, or they went away, correct?
No, we are still planning on the solar panels on the roof. They'll be flat
and
flush to the roof.
And what part of the roof will that be?
Basically, the entirety of the roof on the pond side, outside of the mechanical enclosed area. So there's a page on A104 from the actual submission document, which outlines where we're placing the panels. They're mounted just flat to the roof, so they're not going to be. They should not be visible from either from the pond or from standing outside the restaurant.
Right. Okay, so I was able to come up with, in the planning, their cut sheets on lighting. So what did you want me to look for with regards to that white sconce?
Where it goes.
No, I'm asking Stephen. He wanted me to look inside the packet that I had.
Yeah, so we could find out.
The KXC sconce, the one that looks like it might be a glowing glass sconce. If you look on page A003 from that, those are just inside the showers, so you shouldn't be able to see those from anywhere, basically.
Okay. So they're basically inside the actual outdoor showers.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Peter, anything else that's?
Well, I have to say that I find the lighting scheme, not the lighting, the color scheme, right, very dark and very ominous, right? The inside with the oak, right, and the pine, right, it's brighter, it's attractive, right? I find the dark windows, the dark metal paneling, right, the stain, right, a very ominous structure. I really wish that the building were much lighter.
Oh, I don't agree.
mean, currently the building itself, the existing building, is also dark. Right? And you're looking like you're going to be making it even darker.
Right. Before we go down this rabbit hole, let me ask the board. Diane, you mentioned that you disagree.
Well, I don't agree at all. I think it looks very sleek, and I think there's quite a bit of glass, and I think it looks modern and clean.
Right. Chip, what your feelings?
Yeah, I agree. And it's certainly a huge improvement over what's there now.
Okay. Esperanza?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the black then tends to recede. So you're just kind of, it gives way for more of the surrounding to show off.
Right. And if you look over, if we can go back to the front page where we started, Derek, where it says, it has the picture with the grass. What I like about the darkness, and I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, Stephen, that the door panel, front door, and that sort of, how can I say, vertical walkway areas, is that looks to be a little bit lighter than the dark stain that will sort of lighten up the front area. I also think that the darker color will highlight the roof garden as well as the landscaping.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, you're exactly right on the front entrance area. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the board, with the exception of Peter, likes the dark coloring. So if anybody has any other questions on this or any comments, we know that we're going to request, of course, them to give us, new signage because they're taking down what's existing there. So that's in the future.
I just had a question about, there were some doors toward the right of the entrance that I saw in another elevation that looked kind of green. And I just wondered what those actually were, if they were glass or another material.
They're painted wood doors.
Where is this, Esperanza?
If Derek could go to the one of the renderings that would show where we were looking at the showers before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
page
3 of this package.
There, that door, it just stood out to me. It looks like a peppermint patty, the building with that door. So
Yeah, where is that door to?
Oh, that's true.
so I just wondered what color that would
Paul,
be.
that's Bronza.
That door and the other doors to the if you zoom in further on that around the showers, they are recessed. They'll be back behind the showers will come out further. So, but we are proposing a painted wood door there for all the rooms. Just
And the doors are white
playfulness.
and the doors are white and the trim is like a mint green. Is that correct?
No, the whole door and trim are that kind of minty green.
Ooh.
And then there's a glass light in the door.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. What does everybody else feel? I don't know.
I'm curious why the mint green?
Why not?
Well, I'm just asking the question, Pete.
It was something that we had tried a few other colors, like a coral and some other. We had tried different colors, a bunch of different colors. So each room had a different color. We're really just looking for something playful and otherwise, pretty consistently monochromatic palette. But then the mint green also, was a lighter green that also kind of worked with the landscape a little bit. So it seemed like that's where we landed. But
is there an actual color chip that we could see the actual color of what that is?
I could get that to you. I don't have the Benjamin Moore number in front of me. So I could definitely submit that.
Diane, how do you feel about the green doors?
It's a designer's touch choice, a little flourish.
So you don't mind
I mean, I like it better than coral.
Yeah. Chip, what's your take?
I'm fine with it.
You're fine with it.
I'm fine with it, actually.
Yeah, I don't mind it only because of the, again, it ties in with, the greenery, the landscaping that they have around.
I find that this is such an elegant building that added whimsy doesn't really jibe with me, but that's not,
You know what? I like the idea of the color. I just think that we need to see what the color is. Yeah. And Stephen, if you wouldn't mind, what I'd like for you to do is submit that color to us, a chip of it that we could see, as well as maybe some alternatives in the green family that if we find that actual color to be not to the board's, approval, that there's other, tones of that. What do you think, board? Wouldn't we like to see this before we go ahead and approve that, since it's really the only element that we have in question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we do this? Why don't we tell you that we really like what you're proposing, and the only thing that we would like to do before we make an approval on it in order to generate the resolution, because I don't think you're ready to start tomorrow. If we could get some colors that we could look at for next meeting, which is on the 24th, and then by the end of the month, you could, have everything ready to go. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
I have just one last question. Did we go over the material of the roof? I'm sorry if I missed that. I'm just looking at it now.
The roof is existing and remain.
Okay.
Yep.
And it will be stained the dark stain color to match everything else?
No, it stays the color.
We're not going to affect. We're going to keep exactly the same. Yep.
So
can you go back to that?
The roof is remaining as is.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
Derek, can you just bring the photo down so we can see that?
Well, obviously it's not as is because they're removing those fake dormers, so it's got to be changed.
No, but this part of the roof is being removed.
Right. Derek, can you go down to the front page, please? Okay, now go up to where we were just before, when we were looking at the green doors.
The roof.
So that we're not going to see.
No, the roof recedes, you don't see it anymore.
Right, there it is. Can you blow that up, please, Derek?
Can you actually show me the existing? Because that's what we're really looking at. That one. Can you go closer?
Yeah, the existing is the standing seam metal roof.
That's what I wanted to know. And so it has sort of is it like a coppery, I mean, is it like a, what do you call it? Patinaed coppery color? Is that what it is?
No, it's sort of a zinc. It's sort of a
Zinc.
rusty,
Just haven't been out
rusty
there.
zinc.
Well, let me ask you this, Stephen. You're going to take off that standing seam metal roof, correct?
Only
On
in
the restaurant
by
portion.
the
we are.
restaurant.
You're right.
Okay.
Where it's obvious.
But only at the restaurant
Well,
portion.
Then what am I looking at on the existing roof over the hotel?
That's intended to be the existing standing seam. So you should see that roof below should be the same as the one above. It does seem a little browner in the rendering, but it's not intended to be.
All right.
I'm a little confused. Tell me again what is on the building right now above the hotel. What is the roofing material?
It's an existing standing seam, metal.
Metal. And so you're keeping
Unpainted.
that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the rendering of the proposed doesn't really reflect the metal standing seam roof. It looks more like a brown wood roof.
Oh,
That's true.
yeah, I
It's
can do a
not
better
very
job
true.
on that. It's intended to be a metal standing seam roof. It's just not quite shiny enough, I guess.
Okay.
The lines could be better.
Maybe that mint
Yeah,
green
that
color
is the-
should be considered with the roof color.
Well,
with
that's
the existing roof
why
color.
why I was asking. Thank you for pointing that out, Diane, because I'm just thinking if that matches it more, or if there's a way, if you're providing an
Yeah, it'd be
alternate.
more like a blue green, a blue
Exactly.
zinky
Pick up-
gray,
Exactly. Pick up some of the roof.
zinky blue gray.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Stephen,
Yeah, the roof.
do you understand what they're saying in the
Yep, I
mint green, and what you're also going to submit as options? If you could do something more toward the silvery bluish coloration in a green or blue family, that will pick up and work with the roofing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That sounds
So
good.
we're going to table this just for that purpose, and we look forward to seeing you back in 2 weeks. And then what you'll need to do is submit the color samples as well as their numbers to Derek by next Thursday by 12 noon, and with a letter to be put back on the agenda for the 24th, and we'll go from there. Okay?
Okay. Sounds good.
Good. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time in the effort.
It's very nice.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Deb. Okie dokie. Fences, walls, and berms. Adam Mackey, tax map number 300-197-1-29.6, 24 Cow Hill Lane in Wainscott. And Michael, we might be looking for Katie on the line.
I believe I have that. I will open that phone line up right now.
Hi, Betsy. How are you?
Hi, Katie. Esperanza, if you could read into the record what the application is for.
The application is for, and this has come before us, this is coming before us again, for a fence in white PVC at a maximum height of 6 feet to help with removing noise from the pool area along Cow Hill Lane and Wainscott Northwest. So in the pool area, as you see now, the new proposal, the dotted or the dashed red line on the survey. So this new proposal brings the 6-foot fence, again, it's white, in 10 feet from the property line. along those perimeters.
Is it a solid stockade fence?
It's a solid white PVC fence.
It's really a wall, basically.
Yeah, it's just, there it is. That's the picture.
There it is.
Mm-hmm. So if we could just go back to the survey for 1 second, I just want to point something out to the board. If you look and see where the property line is, and then outside it is a section that's a easement between the property line and the actual street.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how wide that is. I don't know if I can see it on there.
Where are you referring to? Sorry, Betsy, I missed.
So where the street ends and the pavement ends, there's an easement around this property line.
Yes.
That's a few feet. I don't know how much it is. Katie, do you know how much feet the easement is on both Cow Hill and Wainscott?
I'm going to say about 10 to 12 feet.
Yeah, 10 or 12 feet. I mean, if that fence is 10 feet.
You mean, where do you see the word easement, or are you just referring to what's not paved?
Yeah, it's not paved. The side of the road.
So sort of that's what we call the right of way more. It could be cleared in the future. It's just probably grass now.
It is grass. And I want to just bring that out, that from the road, the edge of the roadway, there is an area of grass before you get to the actual property line. And on the property line, where you can see in the right corner, there's fencing that goes off the property into that easement and around on Wainscott North Road, and then back around to the neighbor's property. From that area, 10 feet in is where they're proposing now to put this 6-foot white PVC wall fence to give them sound abatement from the roadway. Cow Hill Lane is not really a through street. It's quite quiet. And Wainscott Northwest Wood, is a normally traveled road. I was over there, that's why I'm jumping in on this. The landscaping along Cow Hill is very mature and heavily dense. However, on Wainscott Stone Road, not so much. So, Esperanza, do you want to take everybody through your pictures so we can get a better understanding? I just wanted to do a layout on that before we left the survey.
Right. I hope that, the submission had photos of the property also, and then I hope that, Derek, I didn't take any new pictures, so what we have hopefully is what we've had from past meetings. So that's the proposed look of the fence, but here you have what Betsy was just talking about. The first picture, the upper left picture, is looking south from the corner, so that's looking toward Montauk Highway. And then the lower left is looking west on Cow Hill, and you can see that she's talking about big green giants on that side, so there's a lot of evergreen there, whereas on Wainscott Northwest, it's more the deciduous trees and shrubbery that aren't as dense.
And some newly planted things, like some younger looking.
Yeah, it's not as dense for sure. I agree. Right. I'm not clear as to whether the proposed fence is going within those limits. I went and I measured, and it looked to be that way. If it went any farther in, it would then be a little more obscured, especially on this Wainscott Northwest side.
So what is the relationship to this picket fence that we can see right now?
So I believe that from that picket fence, you would be going in 10 feet within that property.
Right, and what that's there is, it's almost like it's a corner little, modern picket fence to just, show where the property is and that there's a corner there And I guess it also helps at night with people driving to see white. And there's some of that type of fencing down the street as well.
Yeah, and that's a,
it's just on the corner.
And it's also along the front entrance of the house on Cow Hill.
Yeah, let's take a look. Yes, and is that where the entrance is?
Yes, on Cow Hill. And so hopefully, Derek, do you have pictures that I took from the last meetings? There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's looking east toward Wainscott Northwest. And then that is looking west, which we were just looking at in the smaller pictures. So those are the big green giant evergreens that Betsy also referred to as there being more dense planting. So if you really put a white, the 6-foot fence within that, you almost wouldn't see it. I don't think, Betsy, that I have a better picture of well, you can kind of see there that it's a little bit less vegetated.
Right. And more deciduous.
Yes, exactly.
So we're concerned, Katie, that more heavy traveled road, it's going to be apparent that there's a 6-foot white plastic wall, 6 months out of the year on that road, which is very, modest in its fences and gates. There's hardly anything around. It's a very green road that you can see. Are there any more pictures, Derek, from Esperanza? Or is that it?
Well, I think it's awful.
Now, what if they planted more in front of the fence on the Wainscott Northwest Road?
What happens
the area where
if the
there's
fence isn't white?
That's a good suggestion.
Well, that was also I was going to suggest that, but I do like the idea of a little more planting. I think that would actually help them more with any noise abatement, is having evergreens, a little more densely planted on that side, because that's the problem side.
Okay.
No question.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's
and
true.
What if the PVC was not white, if it was green?
I can definitely bring that back to them. What would you guys prefer as a board?
I think the green, if there's green possible,
dark green,
disappear. I mean, that would be so much better. I don't know why. I know that the house is white and everything is white, but I just feel that, and I think everyone seems to agree, that it just becomes such an eyesore.
And I think if it's going to be also inside the property, that when they're in there at the pool, that they may rather look at something green that blends in with all their greenery than a big white wall themselves. The other concern I have is the way it wraps around on Northwest Road to the neighbor's property. I feel it's not very neighborly to put a 6-foot white PVC fence there. I'm concerned about the height as well. I would like to recommend 5-foot green and more landscaping in that one area where the short little green deer fencing is.
I agree.
Okay, let me bring that back to the client, and if it's okay, we can table this and to the next meeting. Yep. That's okay.
Excellent, great, thank you, Katie. I appreciate it. Well, and Esperanza, do you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I think that's all. And I know that Katie's aware of their other structures or fencing there that is, we would need to kind of bring into all of this. But I know, Katie, you also have another application, so I don't know if we could jump to that, or.
Yeah, it's next on line, is it not?
No.
Yes, it is.
It is. Sorry.
Yes, it is.
Sorry. Yes. Yeah. Great. Okay.
So I was going to make a note that we tabled this.
So we're tabling. Okay.
Okay. Does anybody else, before we move on, does anybody else have anything that they want to add to this with regard to what we just recommended?
No.
No.
Okay. 15 WSR LLC, tax map number 300-197-6-28, 15 Wainscott Stone Road in Wainscott, and that is Esperanza.
The application is for an entry gate keypad. The specifications of that are, it is a 5-foot 10-inch gate in height, 15 feet 2 inches wide, in a gray stain with 2 6-foot columns that are 24 by 24, and that is the proposed design. There is also a rendering that might give you a better idea of this, and then we can also look at the photographs that I've taken of the property.
Who is that?
Okay, so that the lower picture is of the gives you a better idea, I think, of this gate. I go down that road incessantly, and there are 2 driveway gates on that road that I have seen, and any other fencing, anything like that is split rail, very discreet. There's hardly anything. I'm really hesitant with this design. I think in particular the location and these big wide white columns just don't fit into the area.
It's like LA.
Yeah.
And honestly, and if you see the house, I don't even know how at this point, I mean, under construction, but it just doesn't seem to fit with the house either.
You know, that road is, thank you, leave that right there. That road is a very heavily wooded road. There hardly is many houses that you can actually see. They're really tucked behind longer drives. And what you do see on that road heading from Montauk Highway down to Sayers Path, they're all very modest. And they have that wainscot historic nature to them. This house presents from the road very big. And it takes up, if you look at the survey, it takes up most of the width of the property. And on the survey, it looks like the driveway is a little bit longer towards the house, but in all actuality, it's very close. You see how it looks like where they propose it, there's some room to really move it back. Yeah. You know, Esperanza and I spoke about this, and we just feel it's too much fence, too much gate and too much posts for a house that's really looms over that area. So it's only going to add to the vastness of it, and we think it's really out of character, Katie.
Okay, what in terms of the posts, if they, rather than the 24 by 24, if they went for like a 12 by 12, or is that still?
That would help. And drop the height and open it up more.
And put it farther back.
Okay.
And come for coffee.
The gate looks very, very ultra modern.
Yeah.
And
the house is not.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem to be compatible with the design of the house, which is, you know, a bit more traditional.
Yeah, it's
Wouldn't we feel better? I would feel better if it were more of a split rail, I mean, a design which was not quite as modern.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, right across the street is the most modest little 4-foot split rail looking white gate that is an automatic gate. That while I was there, it opened and closed, and it just you almost
There you
go. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's not it, it's certainly comparable to what I would think would be more compatible.
And I tell you, in the picture, it almost looks bigger. Honestly, when you're driving by or, you know, you're just there, it looks even smaller than that.
Yeah, it's probably, 4 feet at that, and then the pillars are maybe 5.
Exactly, yeah, something like that.
So, Katie, we want them to be neighborly.
Right.
Okay.
Okay?
Understandable. So I will
right.
circle back
So we're
with
gonna
the
table
client,
this.
and if we could table this. Yes, perfect.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much, Katie.
Thanks, Betsy.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Thank you, you too. Victor Montano, tax map number 300-120-4-18.247 Crystal Drive in East Hampton, and that is Peter. And Michael, is there anybody on the line?
Presently, there are no callers on the line.
Okay. Peter?
This is an application for a vehicular gate and a pedestrian gate. All right. I have been to this property 3 times already. This is the 3rd time. All right. The original application, I think, was from 2013, all right, where it was resolved that the gate should be 6 foot high, mahogany stained, as per a sketch stamped approved. Right? If we could take a look at some of the pictures, the existing that has been built there. All right, based on my dimensions, all right, the gate is 6 foot 7 inches high in the center. The posts are, let me find my dimensions. Yeah, the gate is 6 foot 7. The posts are 6 foot 4 on one side, 6 foot 7 on the other side. And if you'll notice on the left side of the photograph, there's fencing and posts that are outside of the property line. The original application said that the gate and posts would be 20 feet off the pavement. I measured it. It is 15 feet off the pavement. So it is both, it's all at the wrong height and in the wrong location. So I don't know how we can approve this.
We shouldn't.
Well, we can't approve anything that is over 6 foot, and the posts you said are 6 foot 7. The
Right.
fencing is off the property. And, you know, we could allow the 15 feet because we, you know, request at least what?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a particularly heavily traveled road. Right. So we can deal with that, but the height's all wrong.
And the fencing. All right, so what do we do, Jameson? Do we table this again and send them a letter that they need to bring this into compliance?
Well, I'm confused. Why did we put it back on? Did they reach back out and have anything new to present, or?
It said that there was a code violation for a shed with no permit, but we don't cover sheds, do we?
No, I know that, but we saw this, I think, at the last meeting. I'm wondering, did the applicant indicate that they were ready to be heard again?
Yes.
With any new information, or we had this conversation 2 weeks ago, I thought.
There's no new information, and the comments that we had made last time, none of which have been corrected.
Right.
I don't have them on from last meeting.
It was a long
2 meetings ago.
So Derek, did you receive a letter or an email from them?
Yes, they asked to be put back on for the meeting.
Okay. So we need to send them a letter saying that we reviewed the application once again, but until, you know, the posts are 6 feet and the fence is off the property line, there's nothing more we can do here.
And just to be clear, the pedestrian gate isn't built.
No, it's not.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I wasn't dreaming.
Why does the picture gate look nothing like this gate?
Yeah, it doesn't at all.
Well, it's because it's not colored in.
Really?
Yeah, go back and look at the gate. It's just vertical.
Look at my photograph.
The
Well,
color,
it's much
these colors
smaller.
look much wider, so that's
Yeah.
No, but it's a totally different thing. I mean, the arc is different, everything's different. It doesn't even,
It's very different.
it's not the same.
Well,
Yeah.
it was a hand-drawn,
Yeah, I think we're splitting hairs here, you know, at that point.
Where again does the fence go off the property? I'm trying to find it on the survey.
the fence on the left side. There's the survey. Okay. If you look directly above Crystal Drive, this area in there, right, has fencing that is beyond the property line that actually comes out, and they have poles on it which are 8 foot high.
Which are the ones you can see on the photograph, right, Peter?
Yeah, there's another photograph I have, Derek. I had sent you 2 photos.
Oh, that's better.
What's that?
There's a pedestrian gate.
There is. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the latest one on it. If you notice the gate, right, and the posts are about at the property line. On the left side, the posts and the fencing is beyond the property.
It's in that easement, right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think that we don't need to get too detailed in a letter to them. I think maybe if they could provide an updated survey that showed the fencing. This survey is not that great and it's old.
Yeah.
So before we get into, you know, whether the fencing is on or off their property, I'm not exactly seeing it on the survey.
They're very different.
Well, here's the thing, Jameson. Obviously, they put the fencing up. You can see it that it's off the property line. They obviously put it up after the survey was created. I don't know if it's necessary to have them go back and have to spend the money on an updated survey just to be told to move the fence.
Where is the property line in this photo? How do you know where it is?
Where the gate is.
How do you know that that's the property line, though?
We'll take a look at
it. They do need an updated survey.
I'm looking at the survey. The survey has hand-drawn little hatch marks. I think that's where they're talking about where the gate would be, but I don't know that. The gate's not on the survey.
Okay. All right.
Right? Where's the gate on this survey? I don't even know.
It's not.
Yeah.
So we don't have to ask them for an updated survey, but I'm not comfortable putting it in writing in a letter to the applicant that they have fencing off their property line when I'm not sure that they do. That was all.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. All right. So whatever you think is the best way to go about it, if you guys think that, you know, they need an updated survey where the fence is and the gate, then we would be able to move forward. And let me just ask you a question off, you know, with regards to this code violation for a shed. We don't have anything to do with sheds, correct? If they're in the backyard, it's not under our purview.
No, I remember we had this discussion. I have a feeling they probably just thought they were being open about any violations on the property, period. I don't know if they were connecting this application and that violation.
Right.
That. So, no.
But I was just asking in general that we don't have anything to do with sheds. Okay.
Unless
all right.
As you can see,
So we're tabling.
This is what I would do. We did this once before with another applicant. Why don't we table it. We'll reach out to them and we'll say that we'll put it on when they're ready to either come in and present with new information or be able to be available to answer questions for the board, because we're having, we don't have any new information. So.
Right, and because we don't have an updated survey, I would also put that in, and then it would be to their benefit if they wanted to get one, to be able to come back and have the conversation. Okay, so we'll table this. Okay, Leslie Cohen, tax map number 300-150-4-2121 Fresh Pond Road in Amagansett. Michael, is there anybody on the line?
No, there are no callers right now.
Okay. I went out to this property. This is on Fresh Pond Road, which is up off of, is it Abrams Landing, back behind the South Fork Golf Club. And it's a lovely piece of property with a nice big modern house on it. And if you could, Derek, give me a survey shot. I just lost my screen again. Let's blow that up. So this is Fresh Pond Road. Down at the bottom is going towards Montauk Highway and then going north. So the area that's highlighted in yellow is where they're looking to put a automatic driveway gate. Let me read into the record. We propose to build a 6-foot fence and a 6-foot automated gate along the front property line to create privacy for the homeowner. It's a cedar painted gate, 6 foot high, 72 feet fence, 10-foot gate. So my concerns, well, let me say this. So after heading north past that yellow line, it's very heavily landscaped with very tall, evergreens. The name of them just went out of cryptomerias, very big cryptomerias. So you don't really see too much of the property from the road, but you do from the road. If you can show my photographs, you can see down the driveway and how it arcs around to the main house.
Excuse me, Chair, if I may, we do have a caller on the line that I believe is the applicant.
Okay, great.
I'm going to be unmuting that phone call right now.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Excuse me, Chair, if I may, we do have a caller on the line that I believe is the applicant.
Hello, caller, you're live with the ARB.
Yes, hello.
Hi, is this Leslie?
Catherine Fee.
Oh, Catherine, I see you there. Okay. Hi, Catherine. Thanks for joining us. We just got started. I was just showing the survey and talking about, how this presents to the roadway. And we just started talking about photographs that I took the other day when I was out at the property. So this is from the road. You can see that it goes right from the pavement to the driveway. And they're proposing the automated gate. Just how far in from the roadway? The driveway. And they're proposing.
Excuse me, Catherine, if you could you lower the audio of your television or computer, please? In the background, there's an echo.
Sure, yeah, sorry. Okay.
Thank you.
So how far in from the roadway are they proposing this automated gate?
The fence and the gate is along the property line. And the reason why the homeowner would like the fence is there's a glass connection. And as she's walking from her master bedroom to the living area, she goes through this glass connection and the neighbors can see her and they tell her what she's wearing in the morning. So it was kind of a little disconcerting to her. And we, at first, were going to do a 4-foot fence, but we did a mock-up and it clearly was not going to create any privacy. And the 6-foot fence would. And that's why we're doing it, to create some privacy.
All right, well, a couple things. While we're on this drawing, this is an automated gate that slides behind the wall, the fencing wall? Can you
No,
explain this gate to us?
Yeah, it swings into the property.
Okay.
Hinged.
Right. And so what are the materials for the fencing?
It's a cedar that's painted black. We have cedar siding on the house, and it is also painted black. It's vertical. This is horizontal.
Right. And on the application, it doesn't say that it's black, so it's a black paint. And
it should be, yeah.
Note all material to be painted black.
Mm-hmm.
I think Betsy's saying on the application, but not on the plan.
Right.
It is on the plan.
Okay. So if we can just go through
the little rectangle, rather.
Yeah, if we can just go through the photographs, Derek, please. Okay. So from the roadway, Catherine, how many feet in do they propose this gate to be, please?
None.
From the roadway, because there's a little bit of an.
Right. I'm sorry, I don't have the survey in front of me, but we are along the property line, so it's whatever that distance is, 15 feet.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. What's the distance between the roadway and the property line?
Not much. I'm sorry, I do not have the survey in front of me.
Well, there it is right there. So can we blow that up? Maybe we can find out.
Survey is hard to tell.
Yeah, that would be great. It looks
like 10 or 12 feet.
Oh.
Just gonna say, I think it's like about, I'm using a ruler trying to figure out the scale is 1 inch equals 50 feet.
If the driveway is 10 feet wide, right, which is what the plan shows of the gate, it looks like proportionally 10 or 12 feet from the roadway.
Right, and I measured the width of that driveway, and it's about 11 feet wide.
Okay.
All right, so let's go through the photographs so we could just take a look at this. So the driveway curves down around. And there's the house. You know, it was late in the day, so I was shooting into the sun. Is there any other photographs, Derek? That's from coming down Fresh Pond. So you would see this area it's pretty visible. Catherine, the point about her coming through her glass house and neighbors seeing her, which neighbors are seeing her, from across the street or from her next door neighbor?
She did not tell me which neighbor, but she said there was a particular neighbor that would, tell her, if she had her nightgown on or not. I don't know who it was. I don't think it was next door neighbor.
No, and that's my point, because even from across the street, who's ever looking in, this fence and this gate is not going to shield her from somebody looking into her glass house. It's just, I don't, so I'm just not even going to pay attention to that.
Well,
I'm going to talk about the area.
Well, the house isn't glass. It's just.
Excuse me?
Excuse me. Oh, the house isn't glass. I mean, it's just this connection that links the two living areas.
Right.
It links the living area with the master bedroom.
So is it that particular spot there on the left-hand side in the center of this photograph? Betsy, is that what it is?
It looks like
towards the front of the house.
Because I can't understand how toward the road there are all those tall evergreens. I can't see how that would make any difference.
Oh, well, yeah, it's beyond the evergreens. The evergreens are great. They provide total privacy. It's from where the evergreens end, and we just have the grasses. So we're going to go through the grasses. There's some grasses would be on the green side.
All right, so here's my suggestion, Catherine, that they plant more evergreens instead of a 6-foot gate and wall.
Yeah,
I can't, if they wanted a driveway gate, they're going to have to move it back off of the, close to the property line, further down. And if it's really for screening only, to put up a structure that you're proposing when you could put another beautiful cryptomeria that's evergreen all year long is perfectly acceptable. So I'm going to ask you to go back to the client and ask her to consider that.
Okay. Well, it wasn't just for privacy, but also that's 70 feet. That's a lot of evergreens. That's a lot of evergreens. And in there, this house is several years old. Those evergreens have grown. I mean, what are we talking? If we put an 8 to 10 foot, it's not going to, they're going to be these little dinky things. They're going to, I mean, that's a lot of landscaping. They grow very fast. I prefer the grasses are beautiful, and we could have the grasses in front of the fence, and that would soften the fence as well. I would think it'd be much more preferable than a wall of those evergreens. But and then it's also compatible. The fence is compatible with the house.
But you're looking for a 6 foot tall wall. Make it a black wall, basically, to shield her glass room. I'm not going to do it. Catherine, I'm going to pull the board. So, does anybody feel that
one more thing?
They would like?
Could I just say one more thing? I don't feel it's like a. I don't feel it's like a black wall. They're slats.
It is. There's hardly any air space between, and it's going to go from one end of her property over to the first cryptomeria to cover a glass portion of her house. So I'm going to poll the board. Would anybody like to approve this application as presented? Peter?
No.
Diane?
No.
Esperanza?
No.
Chip?
No.
No. So if something smaller than 6 feet isn't going to shield her, then she's going to have to come up with some other idea on how to do this, because 6 foot is way too high for that area that close to the road in that configuration of a fence, because you obviously need it to be solid in order to shield, and it's too big of a wall for that neighborhood. So I'm going to table this and ask you to configure this, okay?
Maybe one-way glass.
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate it. Good evening.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to move into issuance of certificate of occupancy. Shari and Nicholas Loeffler, tax map number 300-172-8-40112 Meeting House Lane in Amagansett. Peter.
The gate and the fence have been reduced down to 6 feet. I do have a question. There is a 8 foot high pole. There's one other photograph, if you could. You notice there we go. That 8 foot high pole right at the end of the fence has
cameras, surveillance.
They have cameras on it, right? Jameson?
Yeah.
Are you there?
I am right here.
Does this, what do we do about this?
Well, it's a structure and it's over 6 feet and it's facing the road, correct?
It is in a yard that faces the road.
And it's connected to the, is it connected to the fence? I can't tell.
Yes, it is.
So it's really, regardless of what's on top, it's kind of, that's a part of the fence. So it's too tall.
Chair, if I may, there's a caller on the line. I don't know if you want to see if it pertains to this.
Sure.
Yeah, please.
Just a moment. I'll mute that caller right now. Hello, caller. You're live with the ARB. Hello, caller. Are you there? Hearing nothing. I'll mute the line.
Okay.
Okay.
Jameson, you were saying?
I think you, because it's for a CO, I think you need to table it.
Okay.
It's not, that's not what was approved. You can't approve that portion of it. It's as if, you know, they left one post remaining. Obviously, this is intentional, but we can't approve that.
Right. It's very possible that they didn't realize that it's part of the structure, so therefore. Now, if they took it away from the fence and put it, let's say, inside the fence and it was on its own, can they have that? No.
Probably not right there either, because it's still, they could put, if they could get it into the side or backyard.
I think then that defeats
that doesn't do the trick. I mean, has this come before us before, surveillance cameras?
I don't know.
Gosh.
I mean, I've not heard it. Betsy, have you heard it?
I mean,
yeah, I recall there was something with a surveillance camera, but you know, it was down a flag lot, and so the 6 foot facing a front roadway didn't really apply. Is everything else okay with this, Peter?
Everything else is okay. They have modified the fence and the adjacent gate to be no higher than 6 feet. It's actually 5 foot.
This is right here on Meeting House. This is where we're looking?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
On this corner? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they'd probably have to go quite a bit back to even have that 6 foot post as of right. You know, quite a bit back into the property.
Or they could plant a high tree.
There you go, and secure
Cameras
it.
on a tree.
Yeah. Okay. And you said it was 8 foot, Peter?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the next one is the Sean McPherson. That's been tabled.
Wait, are you tabling this?
Yes.
Okay.
Because of the 8 foot post with the surveillance camera is attached to the fence gate.
Right.
All right. Amagansett Dunes Apartment Corp., tax map number 300-190-2-16-2, 379 Bluff Road in Amagansett, Esperanza.
Yes, this is for one of the units in the Amagansett Dunes Apartment Corporation, and we had resolved for the replacement of 2 existing skylights and the addition of 1 new small skylight in a bathroom. The dimensions on the resolution are 44 by 46 approximately for the 2 existing skylights, and then 30 by 38 approximately for the new bathroom skylight. I actually was able to gain access to the apartment.
Great.
Which was very nice. The reception, the gentleman at the reception is lovely. And otherwise, I would only have been able to visualize, I believe it's the 3rd skylight in on this photograph. So you can see that it pretty much fits in with the rest of them. I did measure though, and the ones they put in are 44.5 by 42.75, and then the bathroom is 36.5 by 28.5. So I should think that substantially conforms to the resolution. I mean, they're actually smaller than what was on the resolution.
Okay, so you want to make a motion to approve this?
Yes, so I make a motion to approve, I make a motion to instruct staff to advise the building department that this application is ready, this property is ready for a C of O.
Okay, can I get a second on that, Peter?
Second.
All in favor, Diane?
Aye.
Chip?
Aye.
Betsy, aye. Okay, John and Rena Hans, tax map number 300-196-1-8-2, 14 Sayers Path, Wainscott, and that's Chip.
This is a large redevelopment of a home we've looked at it before. It's an agricultural overlay. The back of the house faces a horse farm. We're seeking a certificate of occupancy. We approved a whole set of changes on November 8th, 2018. The last remaining item is a fence that goes along the driveway. That is the fence. It needs to be a 6 foot high cedar board fence along the east side of the parking area adjacent to the garage. The fence is essentially 6 foot 1 inch in places, but it's close enough. The resolution we passed called for a double-sided fence.
and this is only a one-sided fence. It is very close to the property line, and this is what the neighbor behind the fence looks at, and that neighbor happens to have a flower garden there. There's also a chain link fence that goes along there. The owner came out, I spoke to her, I explained to her my concerns, and then the architect for the project called me today, and he acknowledged that it was supposed to be a double-sided cedar fence, and that they made a mistake. I said that after talking to Betsy, I think we're going to press for the second side to be added. His question was, could we do a stockade cedar fence and just drop it in behind this fence? And that's where we are. He said he'd call in, but I don't think he has.
Excuse me, Chair, if I may, I believe that caller is available.
Oh, great. It must be Tyler.
Just a moment, please. I'm muting that now.
This is Tyler Marshall with Workshop.
Hey,
You
Tyler,
explained it pretty much perfectly. Yeah.
Good. Okay, I'm glad you heard it. Okay.
Can I just interject one thing for now and going forward? When there are what people, whether it's applicants or board members, there's no light that comes through a fence, it's a wall. So this wood structure is a wall, and I just want to be very clear about that. Okay, so Tyler, talk to us about this wall.
It is currently one-sided, and our proposal to correct that is to add a stockade fence, which come in 6-foot by 8-foot ready-made panels, which will make it easier for our contractor to install from our side of the property without needing access to the neighbor's property. So
what does that stockade fence look like? Like your regular
a stockade fence, like
well, I mean, I think that's really unfair.
I think it's very unneighborly.
You know, if you install the stockade fence to begin with, you would be looking at the ugly side. So I think it should have been built as is, as it was proposed.
Right, and they should have, right, and what you should have done is built this first facing the neighbor.
Exactly.
Right.
And then finished it off, so we can poll the board. Does anybody feel that a stockade fence is appropriate in this situation?
I think it's a poor compromise.
The neighbor's side is a rural flower garden that comes right up to this fence or wall in question. But it's a highly wooded area also. I mean, I don't really have a problem with a stockade fence. They're all over the place. What's the difference? I mean, but the neighbor's going to see the nice side of a stockade fence versus, you know, a pretty
now
the poor man's version of the
and
wall.
It's not a bad looking fence. It's just a vertical oriented.
Yeah, standard stuff you buy at Riverhead Lumber. Yeah.
Pine. Yeah. So it's a very nice looking fence. It's just there is a difference in price for sure.
Big.
Yeah.
Well, if it were my garden, I wouldn't be very happy.
I wouldn't either.
Who does the chain link fence belong to? Is that part of the garden?
No, looks like it's on 14 Sayers Path property.
It's just wire mesh, no? Oh, the chain link.
There's a
chain. It's a low chain link black fence.
Tyler, do you know whose fence that is?
I believe it's on, at least in that area, it looks to be on our property according to the survey.
Do we have a survey we can look at?
Yes, I have a survey, but it's not accurate. It's not accurate.
How are you going to even drop in a stockade fence with that in the
I don't know. I think it sounds sad.
Where there's a way.
Amount of patchwork, and I think it's really wrong.
Yeah, I don't think this survey shows the fence. This is a much earlier survey. You know, Well, the fence doesn't make this little loop at the end. I don't know what that is, but the wall that's there is just straight along the eastern property line. It does not make that L.
Yeah.
It doesn't
That's
show
correct.
it.
It's a much smaller area now.
You know, the thing is, Tyler, this is how I feel about this. I'm grateful that people come to the town of East Hampton ARB and fill out an application because they want to do the right thing and they want to get the approval. And I appreciate that, because sometimes people just put up fences and walls and they don't bother. But we go through a lot of effort on our part to adhere to the town codes and to work with the applicant so that it's a win-win situation for them as well as for the town, for an aesthetic standpoint, as well as looking at the neighborhood and being conscious of our neighbor. This, to me, after you have it in a written resolution that the other side was supposed to be as pretty as the owner's side, and it is not, I think it's like a slap in the face to the neighbor to then stick down, you know, a cheap stockade fence because it's less expensive for your client. And I think it's really very unneighborly. And I'm going to poll the board for a vote, and we're going to see where we go with this. So the application is asking for us to swap out what was supposed to have been a double-sided cedar horizontal wall for the other side now to have a stockade cedar fence dropped in. Do I get anyone who would say yes to that? Chip?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, Peter?
I would also accept it.
Esperanza?
I don't.
I
Diane?
don't either. No.
I don't either. So that's 3-2, Tyler. So you can come back and maybe come up with another idea that would be satisfactory to both the owner and the neighbor. So we're going to table this.
Tyler, maybe you could create a cedar plank fence like you have in 6-foot or 8-foot sections and drop that in.
Right.
Because I don't think you're going to get
Yeah, would that be,
the neighbor's
while
not
we're
friendly.
here, yeah, the neighbor may not allow us access to their property, and that's another reason why we might want to be able to install it from our side.
Right. But to Chip's point, and again, we don't like to tell you how to go about what you need to do to bring this to the board's approval, but it's just as easy to buy wood and create those panels and drop it in as it is to go to Riverhead Building Supply and buy them off the shelf. Maybe it'll cost you a little bit more, but it would be the right thing to do. So I'm going to table this, and then you can come back after you speak to your client and see what they would like to do going forward. Unless you feel that you would like to entertain that idea from Chip here.
Well, I would entertain that, certainly. Because, I mean, that's pretty much our option. If we're going to install it from our side of the property, upgrading to a similar cedar style fence system that we could install from our property that we would need to build, I guess, in 8-foot by 6-foot panels that we could drop over and connect through.
Okay,
I would
great.
be fine with that.
Perfect. That's great. This makes me very happy. So when it is completed, so we're approving that proposal. And when it is completed, you'll come back and, you know, Chip will come back out to see it. And if everything's to what the original resolution is, that it's a double-sided, it matches on both sides, then we can go forward with the CO vote. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks very much. I appreciate that, Tyler. 109 Montauk LLC, MTK LLC, tax map number 300-168-7-33, 109 Montauk Highway in Amagansett. Chip.
This is for the approval of an existing gate that we asked to be altered. This gate is 225 feet off Montauk Highway. The driveway is on the western edge of Randy Lerner's hotel complex. and provides access to an orchard that's in the center of this complex. We asked that every other vertical slat be removed. That has been done. We asked that the gate be 68 inches high. For some reason, it is 72.5 inches high, a little over 6 feet, a fraction over 6 feet. The posts are 74 inches high. We had asked that they be 72 inches high. Overall, I think it conforms enough, and it's so far off the road that I think it's fine.
Okay. So do you want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the gate as altered and approve it.
And then instruct staff to...
Instruct staff to tell the building department that we are ready to issue a C of O on this property.
Great. Can I get a second on that, Diane?
Second.
And all in favor, Peter?
Aye.
Esperanza?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That's the end. So I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting of September 10th, 2020. Can I get a second, Peter?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you,
Aye.
everybody. Good meeting. Appreciate it.
Thank you.